The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
Hello, this is JRE Review. We're going to be reviewing Bill Ottman on the Joe Rogan Experience today. And oh my god, if you haven't seen the last videos, you should watch them. But this episode has so many killer clips. I hope you watch it to the end. It's a little longer, but you'll understand why. Here we go.
I just sent it to you, Jamie. Let's watch it. Just see what your take on this, because I know that you're fascinated by the subject too. This is a bizarre subject when it comes to disclosure. Let's hear this. I don't hear anything.
Maybe it's nothing, but what do you know about the phenomenon, about UFOs? What can you say for sure? Maybe it's nothing, but what do we know about UFOs, and where does this go?
As I said, what we know is what we gleaned from all of the data that has been discussed. And, that the
UFOs are real. Tell me.
Yes, UFOs are technologically sophisticated. They have performance characteristics that are, the five observables are sort of well documented, but they also have very profound effects on some people, or they have superficial effects on other people, but they do have effects on people. So going forward is to combine both of those, is to study UFO performance, and the hope is that out of UFO performance can come theoretical physics, which will eventually translate into engineering.
Does our government have downed UFOs from unknown origin that they've been trying and are trying to reverse engineer and exploit those technologies, understand the physics, and understand that technology? Do we have that to work with?
I can't talk about that, but the answer is yes.
So this is from Weaponized, Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp's podcast. Just that answer alone.
So who is Combe? Who is he?
Well, he is, according to Jeremy, he is a program manager for the government's largest UFO program.
Which, is that Arrow?
I don't know.
It might be.
Holy cow, this is awesome. I really hope this is true. I mean, what if? All right, but side note, doesn't Bill kind of look like Jesse Pinkman? I mean, like a smarter version. Okay, back to it.
The idea that someone is going to come out and say, we have downed UFOs, but we can't talk about it. Like, what does that mean? Do you have something that was unidentified that is from some other state, some other government that you found, and it's unidentified? Or are you saying you have something from another planet? There's two very different answers.
Right, because the Chinese balloons included in this as well. So if that gets downed, that constitutes crash materials.
Right, like what is a UFO? It's unidentified. What does that mean? But are you saying that you have something that you're back engineering from another country? Or are you saying you have something that is of some completely unknown origin, like outside of this world?
Well, I mean, based on the testimony from, whether you're talking about Roswell or particularly the one that I've been just loving deep in the rabbit hole is the Virginia incident.
That's
in
Brazil. Yeah.
I mean, that is completely mind-blowing. James Fox did an epic documentary about it, Moment of Contact. And, there are military whistleblowers in his documentary which say that the U.S. flew in and transported... can't believe I'm about to say this, but bodies and materials. Like in this documentary, there's aliens running around all over Virginia, Brazil, and these two sisters and their friend saw it. The doctors saw it. They did X-rays on it. Like they talked to these doctors, and
they did X-rays on the bodies.
They did X-rays on the bodies, and they had to demolish the whole wing of the hospital where it occurred because the smell was so bad and this was reported independently from the guy who saw the crash. Everyone said that it smelled like ammonia and sulfur, just like, and they couldn't get it out of their system for weeks. And so, there's record of the hospital, doing this, like this renovation. And I don't know, the speculation was saying that it's like maybe like a skunk or something, like a skunk
type smell.
Yeah. Well, no, but that's like a skunk. Animals have reactions when they're in a scary environment.
And that maybe these aliens have a similar reaction to like a skunk.
That's what everyone said, that the smell was so horrible that they couldn't get it off their bodies. They had to demolish the whole wing of the hospital. And like the weird thing about Virginia is very similar to Roswell in that, like, when you go to Roswell, it's like UFOs. It's a tourist attraction.
Right.
So you go to Virginia, there's like huge UFOs everywhere. It's like the culture at this point, because the whole city was basically locked down. They had like hundreds of people all over the city that saw military checkpoints or know somebody who was directly involved. And like, I approached, obviously agnostic on what is happening, but it's like you don't have hundreds of people saying exactly the same thing just out of nowhere. I mean, it could be some sort of government, but it was like the mayor of did you see Moment of Contact?
No.
Oh, dude, it's so wild. It's so good. It's so well done. He's such a great filmmaker.
Is there any evidence?
Yeah, there's lots of evidence. I mean, so all of there are hospital records. There are, you mean like in terms of physical? Well, James says that there is, and that he's, on top of it to try to find it. But I mean, evidence is a spectrum. So, physical evidence, people died. So this guy, Cherise, so they confronted this guy, Eric Lopes, who, with this guy, Cherise, Carlos Cherise, they basically were police who like captured, apparently, allegedly, one of these things. And they talked to this guy's sister, who died like a week after grabbing this thing. And, she has the death certificate, and like the cause of death was unknown. He had this like super weird infection. And so, I would consider a death certificate, based in, he was a state worker, and he died for super bizarre reasons.
So he
grabbed it, and then apparently there was like, he got a cut or something, infection, and he died. They confront the other guy who was driving the car, Eric Lopez, and he threatened to kill them when they go on his property. It's so crazy.
So, does this mean we can't have platonic relationships with aliens? Because, what if there's a species with 3 breaths? Like, that was in, what's the movie? Gary. Alright, but anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Like, subscribe, comment. I'm interested in what you have to say. And as always, here is a bonus clip. Enjoy. Bye, guys.
If human beings absolutely knew that we do have UFOs from another world, that we're back engineering and we're trying to figure it out, that we have been in contact with alien civilizations, we are being monitored. The UFO folklore is, of course, that once we drop the bombs, that all of a sudden they start showing up, which totally makes sense. Like, okay, there's a detection that these people, these beings on this planet, they've entered into this new phase of understanding of technology, and they can harness the atom, and they use it of course, they use it as a bomb. Now they're using it as nuclear power. They're using it in all these different ways, and we have to make sure that they safely transition to the next stage of evolution without complete total destruction, which would send them back to, at the very least, the Stone Age. And then you're dealing with tens of thousands of years of, reinventing everything and getting back to the state where they were at now, and give them another shot at doing it again. So maybe that's why they showed up, And maybe that's why they're monitoring us, and that's why they're here. That it's a bridge. And they're just here to make sure that we don't fuck everything up. So that this is a very delicate and precarious process that exists with all intelligent life forms all throughout the universe. And that we're at a stage, just like, there's speculation and there's people openly discussing that some primates, lower primates, have entered into the Stone Age. They're using tools, they're using things, and this is very similar to what they think happened to human beings. And that over the course of millions of years, they'll eventually become like us. And that this is just a natural process that exists where intelligent life forms learn things slowly at first, and then eventually incredibly rapidly, which is what we're seeing now with AI. It's
totally logical. I think that...
Totally logical.
And in the way that we interface with species below us is, sometimes we're fascinated by them and want to learn about them and study, but other times we're like, a squirrel, okay.
Right, exactly.
And so it's kind of both of those things. Like, people polarize the conversation. They say, oh, they'd never be interested in us. That's stupid. Of course they would be.
That's Neil deGrasse Tyson's
just like we
take.
are
of
in
course.
everything.
Of course.
But at the same time, like, they probably also have other cooler things to pay attention to. Maybe there's other way cooler species than us to pay attention to. Or
I'm sure there are, but this is the transition. So if I was an alien life form with superior intelligence from some other galaxy or some other part of the universe, I would 100% be concentrating on integrating this new species into the galactic network, if there is one, and then helping them get to this next stage, because maybe life is fairly rare. Maybe intelligent life is much more rare. And maybe this thing that we're seeing is like these rare nuggets of some very precious thing that exists in the universe. And so they seek it out. And they recognize that this is the thing that brings them to the ultimate next stage.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night. All day.